The Ramsey County Board of Commissioners meeting is now called to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Madam Chair, can you hear us yet?
I can hear you now.
All right, we're going to take a shot and start at the beginning again.
All right.
Try one more time.
Fretham,
Here.
Mattis Castillo,
Here.
McDonough,
Here.
McGuire,
Here.
Ortega,
Aye.
Reinhardt,
Here.
Carter,
Here. Thank you very much. Commissioner Mattis Castillo, would you do us the honor, please, of leading us in the pledge?
Yes, Madam Chair. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. The agenda of March 23rd is before you. Is there a motion?
So moved, Madam Chair. Second.
There is a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the agenda? Clerk, please call the roll for us.
Mattis Castillo,
Aye.
McDonough,
Aye.
McGuire,
Aye.
Ortega,
Aye.
Reinhardt,
Aye.
Fretham,
Aye.
Carter.
Aye, thank you very much. The agenda is passed and you have the minutes of our last meeting of March 16th. Is there a motion?
So moved, Madam.
There
Second.
is a motion. There is a second. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mattis Castillo,
Aye.
McDonough,
Aye.
McGuire,
Aye.
Ortega,
Aye.
Reinhardt,
Aye.
Fretham,
Aye.
Carter.
Aye. Thank you very much. The minutes are passed. I'll call on the County Manager O'Connor for our COVID information section.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, good morning. I will turn digitally to Deputy County Manager Kathy Hadeen, who I believe is joined by Dr. Ogawa and Incident Manager Laura Anderson.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. We are here, as you know, on an info day and available to provide any answers to questions that you may have. And so I think we'll go there first.
So, Madam Chair, as Deputy County Manager Kathy Hadeen said, I just wanted to make sure she didn't have any opening comments today. Today's an info day. We can answer questions related to vaccine deployment, testing, what we're seeing across the community. Happy to do that. No planned presentation.
Commissioner Fretham.
Thank you, Chair Carter. I received a question from a constituent today more on what work we're doing, if any, on potential more widespread rollout of vaccine once access is opened up. Have those discussions started? Are there any plans to, say, use Ramsey County facilities as a site location for community vaccination once we reach the stage of all adults being eligible to receive vaccines?
County Manager? Dr. Hadeen. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Fretham, for the question. And so the work that we've been doing right now is building up to the ability to take in more people for vaccine. Our sites actually, our large sites are actually quite big, with over 800 people, a clinic that we're bringing in to get vaccine. We're building capacity to do even more than that. I know this week one of our sites, capacity is up to 1,000, and I know that we're working to build capacity to bring more people in at a daily clinic. I'll turn to Incident Commander Laura Anderson to give a little more detail about all of the places that we are in, but we also want to remember that it's not accessible for many of the people in our community to get to these large sites. We have some in the suburbs, we have some in the city, and so we actually have plans in place where we're implementing right now, where we're working also with churches, we're working with a mobile unit who have, as I think reported last week, have been noticed by our hospital systems as a model for getting into smaller residential areas, high rises, public housing, and within communities where there's more concentration of people to be able to provide access to vaccine in that way to those who either can't log in and sign up or those who don't have access to getting themselves to a healthcare facility to get vaccine. Incident Commander Anderson, if you wanted to weigh in there, that'd be great.
I'm happy to do so, Commissioner Fretham. So we are currently in the midst of planning for those large mass clinics. We look forward to having enough vaccine on hand to make that tenable. I would assume that we will be conducting some level of drive-through vaccination, similar to the drive-through testing that we were able to conduct last fall. We're really waiting for the state to give us the go-ahead. When we have enough vaccine on hand, we are looking forward to offering more vaccine to the general public, yes.
Thank you. Commissioner McGuire.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just curious about have we seen many, what are the numbers on the variants that might be out there? I know at one point we were seeing a few, and I'm just curious where that's at.
I can go ahead and answer that, Commissioner Carter and McGuire, thank you so much. So actually, unfortunately, we are seeing the British variant spread relatively rapidly. We have actually increased the overall numbers. Initially we were seeing clusters within Carver County, but actually a number of those also happened in the Twin Cities region, and they increased probably about tenfold the number of cases from initially a small cluster of about 30 to over 300. We know that, and that's, the state and the CDC are able to genome sequence about 6% of our cases right now. So we know that there are more cases out there as well. And so we are very concerned. Europe is seeing a third wave very clearly related to this. It's 45 to 50% more infectious than the other strains. It also definitely is more deadly, and more individuals end up in the hospital related with this variant. And so it is a real concern now, and we are watching it closely. Another reason why the mitigation that we know works has to be followed, and the masking and the distance, and luckily with the weather getting better, hopefully more outdoor things available again. But we're very concerned. The other piece is that we were the first identified South African variant as well. It's about 25%, 30% more infectious, but that's the one that we're concerned that the vaccine may not be as effective against. And so it would pose a different kind of risk than the British variant, but still a real risk. So yeah, unfortunately, it is concerning.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ogawa. And just to clarify then, so that's why, even if you've had the vaccine and things, you should still mask and social distance and everything, because we don't know what the variant, if the variant's out there, you may catch it. We don't know our vaccines do we know what the efficacy of our vaccines are against that variant?
So the British variant, the efficacy of our current vaccines against the British variant are very good. So that we do know. The South African, it's actually pretty good. But we worry because all it would also take is a few more changes in the protein coat, unfortunately, to reduce the efficacy. The other issue is that we want to get more vaccine out there, because the more we prevent the virus from replicating, period, the fewer variants we get. And so the other, I'll just say, is that the other important thing that we're working on within public health too is making sure that the public is still comfortable with getting the vaccine. You know, we've seen different kinds of vaccine hesitancy and vaccine access. It's all of those things, and so we want to try and get more vaccine out there to prevent the rate of replication and variants being created. So,
and on top of that, Madam Chair, if I could just add one last thing, Commissioner McGuire, which is, you know, even if it's, regardless of the public health knowledge around particular efficacies of vaccine, particularly when only 1 in 5 Minnesotans generally at a broad level have been vaccinated, the signaling of wearing a mask and spacing is important to population behavior following. And I think that gets lost sometimes, that part of doing our part is demonstrating that it is normalized to do our part. And whether vaccinated or not, we all share a role in that piece as well.
I really appreciate that, County Manager O'Connor. I thank you for stressing that and stressing how important that is, that we continue to wear masks and socially distance. I appreciate that. Just one last question, Madam Chair, if I could. You mentioned, you know, about vaccine hesitancy, and how are we doing with our communities on that? How are we? If someone could just give me a little brief update on how we're doing, if we're finding certain communities are more hesitant, and how we're dealing with that, or how that's going. Or maybe that's a report for next week. I'm sorry if it's not a report for this week.
Madam Chair.
Brief comment. Thank you.
I can comment a little bit, only because I'm probably, I am deeply involved in that, because a lot of what we've been doing is we've continued to work on getting the right information to the right people. And so we are continuing to work with each and every community. Clearly, interest still outstrips availability, period, across the board. And so I still feel like we're doing a very good job. We are also very aware, though, that often you hear about the people who want the vaccine. And so, but with the help of research, with we're going to be holding community meetings still. We're going to be talking specifically about people who have shifted in their thought from different communities. Like, okay, yeah, like 3 months ago, you didn't want the shot, but what brought you to wanting the shot now? So that we also understand the kind of messages that people may or may not need to hear and what may work. And so we're continuously working on making sure that we don't miss those who are vaccine hesitant, and that we don't also give the wrong message and somehow make it worse. We can talk more about it next time too.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you for that. That's really helpful. I just was curious about that. Just to let everyone else know that Healthy Counties, the Healthy Counties Committee for NACO is having a session on this Friday of this week, on vaccine rollout and things that I can give it during my report, but just because we're talking about vaccines here, Healthy Counties is doing a session on this on Friday. Thank you, and thank you, Dr. Ogawa.
Thank you very much for your questions, and also for staff, your ability to address these concerns as we move forward in our response to pandemic. I'll turn back to County Manager O'Connor for any final comments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The one thing that the conversation reminds me of, so you will have seen or already have seen the that New York said that they're having their 80,000 workers return, New York City, excuse me, starting on May 1st, which will be the next round then of questions that come our way about are we all coming back on May 1st? And I just want to be clear that the answer is no. The city of New York has chosen to take the approach they took. I would personally, both as we're going through significant change as an organization around our buildings and service delivery, we need a little more time from that end. But that aside, right as it gets nice enough out where we have opportunities to ensure we stay spaced out and continue to beat the virus, feels like not the right time for us to compel people to return to closer quarters in office. And so no change being announced on our end. Good luck to New York City as they pursue their plans going forward and other communities make their plans as well.
Thank you very much. Certainly, we wish good luck and blessings to all who are responding in this moment to the pandemic, and we will do our very best to stay safe and to follow the evidence. I want to just look back. There are no questions at this point in time. We will move on to our mindfulness moment, which we have been caring to take each week at our board meeting as we continue to face the health, economic, and social consequences of our pandemic and multiple pandemics in our community. And this morning, while we're struggling to address the growth of certain kinds of business burglaries and thefts and carjackings, gun violence included, growing in our community here and in Ramsey County across the metropolitan area. We also are shocked and saddened and angered by mass shootings this past week that have occurred in Atlanta with 8 people killed, including 6 Asian women, and in Boulder, where 10 people, including a police officer with 7 children, was also killed. We mourn all the losses as a call to action on gun violence, and we stand united also with all across America and the world who recognize racism, such as indicated against our Asian brothers and sisters in the Atlanta shootings, rekindled since the start of the pandemic as a virus inspiring violence. We stand together to recognize, to call out violence, and to demand an end to tolerance of such ongoing hatred. We're all in this together. Our brief moment of mindfulness, please. Thank you very much. So today, after our board meeting, we do have 2 workshops, which will be convening, hopefully the first at 10:30 and then again in the afternoon. I will call on Commissioner Maris Castillo now to take us through our administrative agenda. Commissioner.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move item number 4, extension of agreement with Health Partners for Employee Assistance Program services. Item number 5, terms of collective bargaining agreements with our International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 70, for the year 2021. Item number 6, terms of collective bargaining agreements for the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 49, for the year 2021. And item 7, a grant award from the Minnesota Department of Human Services for Mental Health Innovations Project and increased personnel complement of Social Services Department. Item number 8, agreement with Face-to-Face for youth diversion professional services. And item number 9, agreement with Aurora Strategic Advisors for federal intergovernment relations consulting and lobbyist services. And item number 10, the Rice Creek Commons annual financial report and combined project budget.
Second.
Thank you for the motion and the second. Are there any discussion items before we proceed to the vote? With none, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Maris Castillo,
Aye.
McDonough,
Aye.
McGuire,
Aye.
Ortega,
Aye.
Reinhardt,
Aye.
Fretham,
Aye.
Carter.
Aye. Thank you very much. The entire administrative agenda has passed, and we're on to the policy item that is on your agenda this morning, item number 11, which is our Ramsey County vision, mission, and goals for reconfirmation. Together, the board members want to reaffirm our vision, mission, and goals, and it certainly deserves a reading at this point in time. I will call on the County Manager O'Connor in case he has an introduction planned to this action on the vision, mission, and goals of Ramsey County. County Manager.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members, and Elizabeth Tolsman is going to join us here to say a few additional words, the Policy and Planning Director for Ramsey County. As she jumps on with us, I was just going to add that adopting the vision, mission, goals is officially the start of the 2-year budget process for the county board. So the process started in January at the strategic planning session with the Board of Commissioners, but today's an important step in solidifying that strategic direction by which the county manager will go back and work with the organization to build a proposed budget that will come back before the board later this summer in hopes for adoption as we near the end of the year. And with that, I will turn to Director Tolsman if she is with us.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair. I apologize. I'm having video issues right now. I am on. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you. We see your name too.
Excellent. I apologize. Don't know why I have a blackout screen. But good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Happy to present this item this morning. The action before you is to reaffirm Ramsey County's vision, mission, and goals as is. As many of you know, the vision, mission, and goals provide the strategic direction that aligns leadership, staff, our service teams, departments, and county programs to better serve Ramsey County's residents and businesses. Our vision, mission, goals is used in many of our countywide documents, but of particular importance, it's for the preparation of the 2022 and 2023 county budget. It's also used for performance measurements and community indicators work. I want to reiterate that our vision, mission, and goals is more than words on a paper. It is, in essence, our North Star. It helped us form our county values and the individual behaviors and operating decisions and strategic investments in our county. The vision, mission, and goals are intended to be long-term statements that will last through several budget cycles with minimal adjustments. And earlier this year, on January 26th, the county board met in a board strategic work session to review our county's vision, mission, and goals. While there was strong consensus on the goals, there was some good discussion on whether we should revisit our vision and mission. And so I just want to state our vision and mission. Our vision is a vibrant community where all are valued and thrive. And our mission is a county of excellence working with you to enhance our quality of life. Part of that discussion, we talked about words. Words have meaning to many and each of us and our community, especially given the diverse backgrounds and lived-in experience that each of us come from. Unfortunately, time did not allow for us to have a more robust discussion on this. So while it is being proposed to adopt the vision, mission, and goals as is for this year, we intend to work with a professional consultant in the next few months to revisit our vision and mission. The plan is to engage each of you individually, as well as collectively, and other key stakeholders so that it lays the foundation for a deeper discussion and possible action by the time we revisit this again in January of 2022.
Thank you. County Manager, did you have any closing comments?
No additional comments, Madam Chair.
All right. We thank you very, very much. I might just add that certainly our commitment to the vision, the mission, and the goal is whole on this board per our discussion. We have the opportunity to re-adopt these so that we begin our budget session with a clear focus forward. And I do have the vision, mission, and goals before us in item number 11 at this time. Is there a motion? Oh, I'm sorry. I am looking at a question from Victoria Reinhardt on the presentation prior to our motion, and it may be that she wants to make the motion. Commissioner Reinhardt.
Yes, Madam Chair, I would like to move the reaffirmation of our vision, mission, and goals. And as stated, I think it is so important that we reaffirm these. I appreciate the fact that we're going to take a deeper dive into some of the issues as well. Especially now, in the last year, the last 2 years really, but the last year and everything that we've gone through,
This has been our North Star, Gold Star on making sure that we remain really committed. And as was noted, this is really what drives what we do, how we do it, and makes our budget the conscience of how we do our work here in Ramsey County. So thank you, and I so move this.
Thank you for the motion. Thank you for the second. Is there any further discussion? Lacking that then, oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Fretham.
Thank you, Chair Carter. I just wanted to add that to me, this is one of the most important things we do as a board. And I really appreciate the plan to do some deeper level engagement with the community and ensure that actions that we take to modify or restate our vision and mission are done in partnership with the community, even though it is our ultimate responsibility. So thank you to the team. I think that's a great plan. I look forward to that.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Fretham. Again, as stated, we are wholly committed. The only question being, can we be any clearer? We are adopting, or we have a motion to readopt our mission, vision, and goals. Without further question then, would the clerk please call the roll?
Mattis Castillo,
Aye.
McDonough,
Aye.
McGuire,
Aye.
Ortega,
Aye.
Reinhardt,
Aye.
Fretham,
Aye.
Carter.
Aye. Thank you very much for that readoption, and we look forward to the work proceeding this year. We have a legislative update from Commissioner McGuire.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thanks again to our team of Commissioner Mattis Castillo, myself, Jennifer O'Rourke, and Melissa Finnegan, working hard. Last Friday was the second deadline that is for all policy bills, so the bills had to have passed out of both bodies by Friday if you're a policy bill, otherwise you don't move forward. The only option is to get inserted into some bill, which would create some discussion. But the finance bills will continue on, so those deadlines are further along. The legislature is going on break starting this Friday evening and going through Easter, coming back on Tuesday the 6th, so that's a break for them to go back to their districts. Well, actually, many of them are back in their districts already, but to take a break from the legislative process. The omnibus bills are taking shape, and those have to be passed out of their committees by around April 9th. So not a lot of time for the omnibus bills to pass out of their committees. So many of you have been testifying this last week, so thank you so much. I just want to thank Commissioners Ortega and Reinhardt for testifying on Riverview Corridor and Rush Line. Commissioner Mattis Castillo is going to be testifying in the House Transportation Committee today on the second train to Chicago. Last week, Commissioner McDonough gave a great presentation on the county and city's partnership work around homelessness. And Commissioner Carter has been active on the transit funding shift. And I know so many of you are down there on other issues. Just thanks for all of your work on being present and available to do that. So that really it really helps our work. We're working on scheduling a legislative delegation meeting with our Ramsey County legislators around the third deadline, which is about April 9th. So we're going to hope to have a check-in meeting with them to see how, to present our issues and to help them remember what their priorities are, and also how we're administering and distributing the American Rescue Plan funds, or the ARP funds that we're getting. So also checking on bonding and budget priorities, because bonding will be one of the last bills if they have one this year, which we hope they do. On the federal side, you probably read this morning in the Star Tribune about the latest stimulus or infrastructure package, the Build Back Better Recovery, Jobs, and Infrastructure Bill. And some people are calling it the Transportation and Infrastructure Bill, or T&I bill. And they're projecting a price tag of $3 to $4 trillion for this, but it is really much needed infrastructure projects and broadband. So a second bill focused on the job side or human infrastructure with more funding for pre-K, free community college tuition, more child tax credits, and healthcare subsidies will be in a second bill. So we're watching that as well. Not sure if that's going to happen, but we're hopeful that it will. So that is, also wanted to just say that the NACO, we're in the final week of the NACO Legislative Conference, and I know that many of you are most of you are participating in your committees, which were a couple weeks ago, but this week is a lot of open sessions and the general session, which on Wednesday at 11 o'clock will feature the President, Joe Biden will be speaking, and also Speaker Pelosi at 11 o'clock at the general session. So that's really exciting that we have such a close working relationship with our administration and NACO. Also, just a couple of others that are on my radar. Wednesday, also the 24th at 2:30, that's the rollout of the national vaccine. There's information on that. And then on Friday, Healthy Counties Advisory Board is talking about how we're doing with our equity rollout of the vaccine. That's at 2:30 on the 26th. But there's many, many, many meetings going on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, which I know you're all following. So with that, if there's anyone else who wants to comment on, I see that Commissioner Manis-Castillo has her hand raised, but if there's anything else that are happening with all of you in the legislative, please let us know. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to add two other really important federal legislative items. Last week, the House passed H.J. 17, which would move the arbitrary timeline to the Equal Rights Amendment, and that, as you remember, we added to our legislative platform last year. Also, the House passed the reauthorization of the Violence Against Women Act, which also extended the protections to transgender women. And these are both really important policy issues, especially if we've seen the increase in violence, especially towards women and our Asian community in the last week. And so these are important policy things to help move those changes forward.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the report, Commissioner McGuire. And we'll move on then to our county connections. County Manager O'Connor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll start by rounding back to a bit of where you ended on your comments before the moment of reflection today. And note that from the county manager column this week is focused on the violence that we saw last week in Georgia, predominantly impacting Asian American citizens of this country, but not exclusively. And the video and the message are focused on this topic at a tough time for our community across a myriad of ways, but another reminder of the work we have to do to build a place that lives up to our vision and mission in the way that it's written. Just this morning, as I entered the courthouse today, the flag was flying at half-mast again, which is another reminder of these ugly moments in front of us. It flies at half-mast far too often. And then just last night, we saw another event in Colorado that suggests that it is not an isolated incident to one state or one part of this country. I don't have perfect words in any way, shape, or form in the column or in the video, other than to say 3 in 20 residents in Ramsey County identify as Asian American or Pacific Islander. More than 400 employees in this organization identify as Asian American or Pacific Islander. These are our friends and colleagues, loved ones, neighbors. They go to school with us, they go to work with us, and it's not okay. And when that's combined with the continued racialization and xenophobia that links to misogyny as well, and the ugly sexualized ways in which Asian American women throughout American history have been exploited, these are serious topics for us to continue to work on. And so I wanted to highlight today's column, and I wanted to highlight the video associated with it. I wanted to express just the frustration and despair and the fear from our own employees and community members, and I know you received those messages as well. I've talked to many of you since last week. We intentionally highlighted today as the moment to talk about this topic because it was only a year ago that Director of Policy and Planning, Elizabeth Tolsman, wrote a guest column from the county manager focused on this topic. reminding us all that during pandemics, violence and discrimination against Asian Americans is a very real part of our history and unfortunately likely to be a part of our present. And unfortunately, those words have rung too true over the past week. But even last week on the East Side, we heard about a grandparent dropping off their grandchildren at the school bus and having to endure harassment as a part of that work. And when I think about humanity and the humanness we all need to carry and to build the organization we want to be, it's important to say that's not okay and that we will do better. I have two other comments, Madam Chair, or two other connections, but I'll pause there for a second in case any other board members wanted to add anything. I wanted to just make sure I made space for that.
Thank you. Board members are endorsing and appreciating your comments. You may go on. Oh, I'm looking at Commissioner Matas-Castillo now. Thank you, Commissioner Matas-Castillo.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I really appreciate your comments, County Manager O'Connor. I think this is an important opportunity for us to pause and reflect and realize that, these events of anti-Asian misogynist response are not new. We know over the last year there are more than 3,800 incidences reported of violence against mostly Asian women. And so really to think about and recognize what that means to our community, what it means to our staff, and that we are able to take time to reflect and also to stand together against Asian hate. And so I really appreciate your comments as we continue to move through this work and to make sure that we are truly creating a county and a place that's safe for all of our residents, everyone who lives here, and that we stand with our community together. So just appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Matas-Castillo. Also, Commissioner Reinhardt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think one of the reasons that we're all relatively quiet here is that it is with such a heavy heart that we listen to what is happening, and knowing that we are all in a position as elected officials to lift up the message and to hopefully be leaders and make a difference. But it's hard, as we all know, to see what has happened and continues to happen. As the county manager said, it's part of our present, and not something that we felt that I personally, I guess, felt that we had moved beyond that. Obviously, over the last couple of years, I know that that's not the case, but was hopeful as I try to be in moving things forward. So I guess it is with a heavy heart, but at the same time, a sense of resolve to not let this slow us down in what we're trying to do, that we will be the voices that we need to be as leaders in our county. And so the resolve and the hope and the hard work that we are going to stand together, as we have all expressed, is important. So it's okay to shed a tear or two, but then make sure that we are ready to stand and stand strong. And we will, because this is unacceptable. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I know reflecting the sentiments of all on our board, standing together with a community that is heavy-hearted, but also hopeful and with a heightened resolve. Returning to you, County Manager O'Connor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, members. Secondly, in the continued theme of creating space for healing during challenging times, on our website today, ramseycounty.us/healing spaces. We'll make sure we send this out. ramseycounty.us/healing spaces. You could find 15 sessions that have been scheduled across our community during the month of April specifically. in which various circles will be facilitated at Rondo Library, Arlington Hills Community Center, Ramsey County Library in Roseville, Ramsey County Library Maplewood, which is focused on youth, and the Oxford Community Center, which is another youth-focused conversation. These healing spaces have been designed as a way to process, learn about, and continue to work through the challenges of the trial now happening in Minneapolis and all that it brings back from last summer and has been a part of our reality since that time. There's been a specific focus on reaching out to communities of color, particularly Black and brown communities who have been uniquely impacted by this incident. And we have had 16 community healers sign up to be a part of this process with us. It will not only be in April, it's just that we wanted to get things off the ground and running. So today I'm here to share the April calendar is up and posted. The communications team's been standing up the website. We have a flyer as well. But we're excited to bring these sessions to the community as a part of a challenging spring and summer as this trial proceeds. Additionally, just because one of the more common questions next to when do we all get to go back to work without COVID is other planning around this summer and concerns about potential for civil unrest and what that would look like. The biggest thing I just want to reiterate is we have a plan to be able to stand up food and basic needs support within 48 hours if needed. That was something that last summer we got to learn from on the fly as we saw food deserts created across our community. We have partnerships in place to do that work. It will not be an all Ramsey County alone effort. We're working with four partners who are in this space and do excellent work. We're working with our city partners to ensure small businesses are supported up and down our commercial corridors throughout our community as needed. We continue to work with the governor's office and, as I mentioned, the city, also our partners on the west side of the river to ensure constant communication and that we are working together on all fronts. And I thought I had one last piece to the update. I don't remember what it is, so I apologize for, we have not an O as an afterthought. We also are planning staff sessions. Many of our staff members, whether through their jobs or through living in this community and working in this community, are feeling a lot of experiences as well. And so the Diversity, Inclusion, and Organizational Development Unit has taken the lead on creating regular standing staff sessions. And for both of these county connection topics, what I would note is that this is part of our ongoing work to support employees, and it doesn't necessarily start in April and end in June. It's a part of how we think about supporting an employee base who have gone through a lot through COVID and now are also still going through so many other events simultaneously, and we want to be here to support every employee and every resident of this community along the way. Finally, for a bit of good news, I folded it and almost lost it. I wanted to share that our very own Workforce Solutions Director, Ling Becker, was appointed by the President of the Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis to the 9th District Advisory Council. And the council advises the bank's senior officers and economists on regional economic conditions. Without reading all the things that the Federal Reserve Bank does, needless to say, it's a big deal for Director Becker. It's a big deal for Ramsey County and our community. And I'm really excited to get to share that great news with you. You all work with Ling in so many different ways across our community and see her showing up and standing out all the time. This is but one more recognition from the Federal Reserve Bank's President, Neil Kashkari, about Ling's work, and so excited to support her in this leadership opportunity. With that, Madam Chair, County Connections are done.
Thank you so very much for those connections to the work that is happening in our county. Congratulations to our workforce director, Ling Becker, whose work we greatly appreciate. And it does stand as an example of the great work going on in Ramsey County. I also want to thank you, County Manager O'Connor. All of the various forms of support which you mentioned do not focus simply on this moment in time. However, we have learned so much and we have been informed throughout the pandemic and through the layered pandemics as to the great opportunity that we have in preparing together with our community with a public health prevention lens for those stresses and traumas that can otherwise be our unwinding. I so appreciate the proactive approach you've taken. I know that in your March 2nd column, you had pointed to those categories of work where we were building to be able to be prepared and with a preventive focus in this time. Those are elements of the support and work that will continue into the future, and we thank you so much for that mindful thinking. I have no questions at this time from commissioners, and so we will move on then, thanking you for the update, to our outside board and committee reports. Let's see, we're going to begin those with Commissioner McDonough and round back to Commissioner Matas Castillo. Thank you. Commissioner McDonough.
Thanks, Madam Chair. No report.
Thank you, Commissioner. And that would be next, Commissioner Ortega.
McGuire. I'll take it, Madam Chair.
I always do that when I don't have my list in front of me. Thank you,
Okay.
Commissioner McGuire.
That's fine. Thanks, Madam Chair. A few things. Of course, always a lot going on. Just to give a couple of updates, the New Brighton Business Council had an update on the 35E lane, and that's in the 35E Min-Pass lane and the construction that's going on there. That's moving along. It should be completed this fall. They're working on it. So there'll be a lot of starts and stops in the traffic pattern around there before then. So also the Child Care Policy Action Group met. Commissioner Fretham and I are working on that with a number of our amazing staff that are working on that. And speaking of Ling Becker, she's always a important part of that, as she's been working with the workforce data report. And so it's just been a great, coming together of the community, and the community is really appreciating that work. We're scheduling 3 more meetings, and then we're going to assess where that goes from there. It wasn't projected to be a permanent work group, but we know that the work that is being done there is really important. And so we at least have projected 3 more months of meetings, and continue to get a really good turnout of our partners at those meetings. I mean, we get 15 to 20 people at those, or organizations at those meetings. So it's really great, and our staff is amazing. So thanks to them for that. Just to let you all know, the Minnesota State League of Women Voters did a great seminar on on our voting and how safe and secure our voting was. And they had voting officials from all over the state up here. If you ever need a presentation on the safety of and security of our elections from election officials everywhere in our state, it's a great presentation. It's only an hour long, and they all talk about how it all worked and why it's all safe. So it was great. AMC Board of Directors met. We talked a lot about how we might start meeting in person with our district meetings. So they're going to be surveying all the districts in the state to see if that might happen in the spring. There's, of course, many of the rural districts that are anxious to meet in person. We're just not sure how that would go, but that's just on the radar for AMC. And District 10 will make its own decision. That's the district we're in. And just to let you know those are conversations that AMC is having now. Also to let you know that the TAB, the Transportation Advisory Board meeting met, or committee board met, and we had 2 amazing presentations that I think everyone should hear. And one was called Whiteness and Urban Planning by Edward Gates of the University of Minnesota. And the other was Equity Considerations Beyond Concentrated Poverty. These were 2 amazing presentations. If you get a chance to look at those, I think maybe it's worth our board hearing them as well. Just how much they've done great research on the equity considerations, and it was good for our TAB board to hear it. I will tell you, it was a good discussion, and I think we're going to need to hear a lot more about it on the TAB, because the TAB is a 7-county metro area, and it's work that was really important that we need to keep doing. So that was TAB. And then my last comment, Madam Chair, is Commissioner Matas Castillo and I were really lucky yesterday to have a meeting with a group of students from the University of Minnesota. They're doing a capstone project on transportation and health outcomes, and it was just a really dynamic conversation. We were really excited about sharing with them what we what we think health equity looks like in transportation, biking, walking, transit, and they're going to be coming through with a proposal on that. I thank Brian Isaacson and Merrick, who was Scott Merrick, who was helped put that together. Just to let you all know, those of you who know Dwayne Merrick from AMC, from a county commissioner in Stearns County, Scott is his son, and he's been working for Ramsey County now for 3 months. So it was really fun to see Scott there. And anyway, kudos to them to Scott for putting this, for helping these students with this work. And we're going to get to see their report at some point in the near future. So it was fun. Anyway, thanks, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Commissioner McGuire. And now, Commissioner Ortega.
No report, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Ortega. Commissioner Reinhardt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to point out, following up on Commissioner McGuire's comments, that tonight the Roseville League of Women Voters is having a session on redlining and racial covenants, and I am registered for that and really looking forward to the conversation, because again, in order to address something, we need to get information out and we need to talk about it. You know, we have our goals, you know, prosperity, opportunity, well-being, and accountability for all through the lens of equity. And sometimes I shouldn't say we, the accountability part is about us as individuals and what we do. And sometimes I think that part of it gets lost. When I think about the fear and the hate, it's really about personal accountability, because you don't have to tear somebody else down in order to be a good person and move yourself forward. And that's personal accountability. And so it just struck me here, and so I'm saying it. Anyhow, but there are a lot of really good webinars and events and meetings and information out there from a variety of different sources that can really educate people. It's just, to me, amazing some of the work that's being done in our own community. As far as an update, I am proud to be the Ramsey County Library Board liaison, and we had a really good meeting and are, I think, on a very good path as far as moving forward on not only the hiring process for the new library director, but how things align with the county. And so we have the work group that was put together, Commissioner Fretham, Matas Castillo, McGuire. Am I missing anyone that was on that? Okay. I always hate that when you start saying names. And the members of the library board that were involved. And you know what? If I start saying names, I'm going to miss somebody. I know that. I know that Gwen Willems and Steve Wood were on it. I'm not sure who else was. Anyway, the recommendations that came out of that, there was agreement on who is supposed to do what and when. And so I think we're on a good path as far as schedule-wise to bring that together, so that hopefully we'll have a joint meeting with the library board in April. So look forward to that. And yes, so really good discussion moving forward. I'm feeling very positive about how the good things that we can expand on really within the libraries, with the library board taking on a role really in implementation of policies that are aligned with, and not that they're unaligned now, but to make it more clear how aligned they are with the work that we're doing in our organization for Ramsey County. So we made good appointments there. So with that, unless there are questions on that, because I know that that's been a topic that we've all discussed, that would be the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. And also for the update on the League of Women Voters and the information session on redlining. You're correct. All of this work is so aligned. And thank you so much to the members of the library discussion team. We look forward to that upcoming opportunity in April to be together.
Mm-hmm.
I'll move on then to Commissioner Fretham.
Thank you, Chair Carter. Just throw in the final library board member who participated was Marisol Chicana Ayala. So there we go. We got them all. I want to start first by expressing my sympathy and thoughts and prayers for the Ramsey County deputy who was grievously injured in Arden Hills last week. Express this on behalf of the entire board. As many know, many of our cities, including Arden Hills, contract with the Ramsey County Sheriff for their police services. So thinking about him, his family, and hoping for more updates and a full recovery. Also, on the topic of, as County Manager O'Connor raised, the incidents with Asian discrimination and hate, just wanting to note that a constituent contacted me and that the local Asian community out here is planning to host an online forum on stopping Asian hate crimes on Saturday, April 3rd at 10 a.m. When I get additional information, I will include that in my next newsletter and be sharing that as well, but wanting to ensure our community knew that locally things were being planned. Noting, yes, that the Child Care Policy Action Group Subcommittee met, and we are making those efforts to transition from COVID response to COVID recovery in that work, and then embed what we've learned and that coordination within the organization. In addition, the Policy Action Group Subcommittee on Financial Applications is planning to meet next week to discuss the American Recovery Plan, how our local jurisdictions are planning or thinking about using funds so that we can be really thoughtful in our approach to deploying the money that Ramsey County receives so that we're not duplicating efforts and that we're coordinating wherever we can. And that was something that also came up during our GIVTAC meeting yesterday. So lots of meetings. We also had our CAP-RW annual meeting last week. Excited to continue to serve as vice president for the next year. And then also this week, additional events that I'm participating in as a law student. I have opportunities through the law school. So there is a law review symposium all week over lunch hour focused on trauma-informed professionals. So excited to attend those over my daily lunch periods. Yesterday, we got to hear about experiences of racial trauma and how that impacts the way that we interact with one another. Today is a focus on veteran and first responder trauma that I hope to catch over the lunch hour. And then also the law school in partnership with Hamline University is hosting several sessions this week on women's suffrage and equal rights. So hoping to catch a few of those as well. There is one tonight that is about the future of the ERA. So that also came up with Commissioner Mattis Castillo. So lots of opportunities to learn and engage in the community. So thank you. That's all.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Fretham. Commissioner Mattis Castillo.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. 3 quick things. First, there is a COVID-19 vaccination clinic at the Como Park High School this Saturday, March 27th. It does require an appointment through Alina Health, and it is specifically for people who meet the current eligibility requirements and who live in zip codes 55103, 106, 107, 117, and 130. So District 3 and parts of Commissioner McDonough's district as well. So if you live in those areas and you're meeting the current vaccine requirements, Alina is holding a free, no insurance required vaccine clinic. And they have both the Johnson & Johnson and Pfizer vaccines, I believe. So anyway, if folks are looking for vaccines, there's an opportunity at the Como Park High School. Secondly, tonight there's also an event that I'm attending called a community event called Unheard Stories of Asian Americans Experiencing Hate, which is hosted by the Asian Minnesotan Alliance for Justice. And so if anyone is interested, it is from 5 to 6:30 this evening to sign up with the Asian Minnesotans Alliance for Justice. And then finally, I just want to share, as you know, we have had long-standing community advisory councils that have provided input to help guide our work moving forward. And up until now, the community advisory councils have been housed under health and wellness admin. And after listening with community and working together on how to make these advisory councils more relevant and to impact the work that they're so close to, and these are advisory councils like chemical health and dependency, disability services, intellectual services, financial services, those kinds of things, that we really want that community input to go directly to the department in which they're closest to. And so we are reorganizing and moving them out of health and wellness admin and into social services to be aligned with that department. And with that move, which is really exciting for the community to have even more input and engagement with that move, as you know, Kristen Jacqueline has worked with that committee for many years and has done a fantastic job. But Kristen isn't moving with the CAC. So which is great. Kristen is going to continue in health and wellness admin where she works to work on contracting work and use her skills there to outreach the community on our contracting side and partnerships. And David Herrera is going to take the role of working with the CACs for now in the interim until we hire a new person. And so I met with the CACs last evening. This is a great opportunity again to be even more effective as we include community with lived experience and knowledge and services to improve those services as quickly as possible because we value that input. And so just wanted to share that transition and move. It's really exciting in the direction that the CACs will be moving with even more connection. And an opportunity to return to providing input and feedback to all of us as we move forward as well with that work. So just wanted to share that update and exciting news as we make those even more effective.
Madam Chair, could I just comment on that? Just because I heard from one of the advisory council members, we all know her, Mindy Greiling. She left me a voice message. She thanks us for the changes that are being made. She thinks it's a really good move forward. Thanks to county manager and anyone who had things to do with the direction that the advisory councils are going. She serves on the Mental Health Advisory Council. She's very grateful for and thinking that's a good move. So just wanted to let you know that the advisory council member is appreciative.
Great, thank you so much. And if I could add one alibi, which I forgot to mention, I meant to give this during our COVID update, but I wanted to share if hopefully Kathy Hadeen is still listening, but I received a message from a constituent who volunteered with the county Vax clinic. She was really excited and she said, I was so impressed with the organization at the Ramsey County Vax clinic that she volunteered at yesterday. It was so well run. And she said she especially loved the color-coded volunteer teams with highly specific duties. It was dreamy she's an event planner by trade. And so she said it was absolutely dreamy. So I just wanted to give a special shout out from the community of volunteers to our staff for running that COVID vaccine clinic.
And thank you very much for that update. I would just share a couple of things. We're looking forward to our next workshop and also an afternoon workshop, so it won't take a lot of time. However, I do want to highlight the Community First public safety meetings, which we've been participating in along with citizens and others from Ramsey County and from our staff. We are glad to be in the phase now of preparing recommendations for the mayor and city council to consider in addressing low-level nonviolent crimes, and also looking forward to the coordination of a future office of violence prevention as a potential coming out of the Community First public safety work that has been happening. I attended a meeting also of the Children's Cabinet Advisory. And in that advisory, much information was shared such as Commissioner Fretham has mentioned regarding the recovery or the American Rescue Plan, the resources that are there, and other resources that will tend toward recovery and building back in that industry and supporting parents and workers. We want to be sure that we're coordinating the work that we are doing along with that expected from the state and federal level. And I so much appreciate that we are doing that with our policy advisory group work team that is headed up by Commissioners Fretham and Commissioner McGuire. I also want to share that I attended a National Association of Counties board meeting. A highlight of that meeting is that the National Association of Counties will be conducting its annual conference in hybrid mode this coming summer with a rescheduled July 9th through the 12th meeting that will be held close to Washington, D.C. in Prince George's County, Maryland. That creates somewhat of a ripple in locations for upcoming conferences, so look forward to seeing that information. Certainly it introduces an element of return, and for that we are thankful that members of the association may be able to be together in conference and sharing best practices and focuses for policy moving forward. It also introduces that strange movement around coming back in hybrid mode, although it may be. So we look forward to sharing additional updates on that. Finally, I'd like to share in expressing all our concerns for the deputy injured in Arden Hills, our own deputy, and express our sympathies and best wishes for his healing and for his family and also for his peers on the Ramsey County Sheriff's deputies who do commit daily to keep us safe with the work that they are doing, which of course causes a risk for them in the performance of their duties. We want to thank and appreciate them for their work and certainly indicate our best wishes and prayers. As we have spoken of during this pandemic and during the multiple pandemics that we have suffered, we are, as we have expressed in this meeting, continually heavy-hearted, but also hopeful and heartily recommitting to the work that we have to do to create the vibrant community in which we all shall thrive. I want to say thank you so much to board members for all the work that you've shared and your reports today as well. And indicate then that we are now preparing to return, let's say at 10:20.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
We have a number of media outlets joining us today. I would ask that we continue to start at 10:30 if that's amenable to you.
Oh, I'm sorry. And thank you very much. That is a time certain then. We will prepare for our next workshop at 10:30. And that workshop is being convened by Commissioner Maris Castillo. And then we have our workshop this afternoon, which will be at 1:30 to be convened by Commissioner McDonough. And with that, we are now adjourned. Thank you.